Hello and welcome to another Nimble video tutorial. In this video tutorial, I'm going to recap my UML designer. Made a few enhancements to it, and also made some enhancements to the overall UI of Nimble. I decided to improve some of the colors and some of the layout of the IDE itself. Went with a slightly transparent darker blue or navy blue theme. I also was able to blend the two dialogues together so it looks like they behave as a single panel, this being your edit area. It adds a nice effect to how the UI behaves. So I wanted to spend some time and look at my UML diagram creator. I changed this side panel as well to put the list box at the bottom. It seemed to flow a little more streamlined this way. In my last video, I was able to show you how easily Nimble can digest any type of JavaScript object or REST JSON contract to build a UML diagram of the object returned from the service. After playing with this for a while, I noticed that the diagram probably would need the ability to pan and scroll the entire diagram as well as each individual object, and also the ability to zoom in and out so that you could have larger diagrams represented. Simply double click will zoom out to the standard view so that the whole diagram is visible. If we switch back to desktop 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a sample JSON contract that I was just found on the web. So if I copy this entire JSON object, go into the configure and paste the entire JSON object and parse it. Nimble's able to read the entire contract, all the elements in the contract, and then create a UML diagram of the new contract. Because when I ran this sample, this was the sample that motivated me to create a larger, or the ability to zoom in and out, so that larger contracts could be viewed easily. You can move the objects around, of course, so that you can get a good look at how all the dependencies are handled. And if you need to, you can just zoom out or zoom in. Just wanted to give you a look at that to show you the enhancements that I've made to the UML diagram builder. But today what I really wanted to talk about is responsive design. Nimble sits beautifully in between a absolute position and a responsive framework. And what I mean by that is portions of the UI is in absolute position, but it gives you total control to render sections of the UI, like this toolbox, in a responsive way. So that means you have the best of both worlds when you're building a Nimble application. But a responsive design is nothing new. It was always been used even in native code desktop apps. It was just done in a different way. So today I'm going to build you a quick app and demonstrate exactly what I'm referring to. I'm going to take a blank dialog form. I'm going to use this standard Windows style form for this demonstration. And what I'm going to do is set the minimum width to 300, minimum height to 480. I believe that's the size of an old iPhone. So now we have a dialog that should not allow you to change the size. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I spelled that wrong. I did. It should not allow you to change the size to anything less than 300 by 480. Desktop applications, I remember years ago that I saw a neat ActiveX control that allowed for a feature called docking. And I've embedded that functionality in Nimble as a part of the framework itself. And what it means and what it allows you to do is to set controls on the screen. In this case, I'm going to use buttons so that you can appreciate, and I can put comments on the objects themselves by setting the caption. You can set a button on the screen and then control how it reacts to the sizing of a dialog by docking any of the sides, top, bottom, left, and right. So this particular button, I'm going to set the caption so that we can understand that this particular button will be docked left, top, and right. And then we go into the dock property and simply set the left, top, and right. We'll grab another button and we'll position it near the lower left corner of the dialog. And we'll make this button somewhat square. I want to set the caption of this button to dock left bottom. And we will set the left and bottom area of that button. We'll repeat the same steps for the lower right. And then one of the most important parts of when native code uses this dock property is the portion of the screen that sizes with the dialog. So in this case, let's just take a list box. And this particular list box will be sized to fit between the two. And we will set the docking of the list box to include all the sides. So as everything else is sized within the dialog, the largest element will be this list box, and it will size accordingly. Once these things are set within Nimble, it will react accordingly. So now you have a very nice way to have a responsive design that uses a technique that was very, very popular, at least in my circles, very popular with native code development. Docking the sides allows you to build very responsive controls and very responsive UIs. At any time, if you want to change this, you could say, let's say you wanted to add another element on the right side. I'll put a new button here. If we just wanted to insert this guy, we could resize it. And this element we have to dock to the right. Oh, and the bottom, I'm sorry. Once the new element is added to the dialog and the sides are docked properly, you can, of course, resize the dialog and all the elements will expand and size as expected. You can also notice how responsive the efficiency at which the elements are sized within the dialog. All done with a very minor, very small piece of code with inside the kernel or the rendering kernel of nimbleJS, and able to calculate the size and adjustments for each element on each dialog as needed. Just wanted to give you a good look at how well Nimble can handle both absolute position as well as, of course, standard responsive design within this framework. Even when you minimize and maximize, the positions are held, as well as any size dialog in between. Just want to give you a good look at that. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching.